turning back to the fire. "'Tis no normally done." A glob of porridge fell to the floor, and Dorcas hurried to wipe it up with a rag. "Aye, and for good reason. A young woman running an inn with the likes of the MacKinnon men traipsing through, and no husband to protect her?" Her eyes widened tellingly. Glenna set the poker back in place. "I could hire on a man to see to maintaining order, serving drink and doing all the heavy lifting. 'Twould be easy enough." "Or," Dorcas jabbed the spoon at her, "you could yourself find a nice lad to marry." "Or you could yourself find a nice lad to marry," Glenna retorted. Dorcas waved a hand. "Och, what need have I for a husband? I dinna seek to become Glengour's innkeeper. I'm content where I am, my dear, and, besides, I was never bonny or well liked, as you are." Glenna shook her head, picking up the broom and beginning to sweep the pieces of peat that had escaped back into the fireplace. Dorcas was still watching her. "None of your modesty now, lass. Ye ken as well as I do 'tis your kindness and charm that brings so many of the men back here again and again. Take Mr. Guthrie out there." She jerked her head toward the coffee room. "He could easily go to the Maidenhead, but he chooses to come out of his way here." "Aye, for mutton pie." Dorcas smiled slightly. "That certainly doesna hurt, but he doesna like the service at the Maidenhead, and he's no the only one." She set the spoon down on the table, shaking her head. "No wonder, with Angus MacKinnon owning the place now. People need a pleasant place to take their whisky." Glenna smiled. "You're no making a very strong argument against me becoming innkeeper, are you?" Dorcas pursed her lips and walked toward Glenna, putting a floury hand on her shoulder. "You're a capable young lass, Glenna. I ken that better than most. But," she looked at her with sympathy in her eyes, "you canna read or write, love. How would you manage the books?" Glenna swallowed. She was well aware of the points where she was lacking. "I learned a fair bit with Ava. Fine, a start, at least. But I could learn the rest." "Aye, but when? And from whom? I'd teach you myself if I had a moment where my hands weren't covered in flour." She dusted them off. "Or mutton, or heaven only kens what else." Glenna turned back to sweeping. "Nay, Dorcas, you're far too busy. I ken that, and I would never ask it of you." Much as she loved the cook, Glenna didn't think Dorcas would be a particularly good teacher either. She could be testy with the new maids when they asked questions in the kitchen. Who would Glenna ask it of, though? Mark, Morna, and Grace all lacked the ability, and even if they hadn't, Glenna couldn't ask them to prolong their labour-heavy days to teach her. Besides, Glengour needed an innkeeper soon. They couldn't wait for Glenna to learn what she needed to know to make the case for taking over. Dorcas was looking at her with what Glenna suspected was pity, and she avoided the cook's eye. Pity was the last thing she wanted. "'Twas a silly thought." Glenna swept a small pile out of the back door. "Forget I ever mentioned it." "Nay then, love. I never meant that." Dorcas wiped her hands on her apron and pulled Glenna to face her. "The idea surprised me at first, aye, but there's a great deal of sense to what you say. Ye ken this work better than anyone, and I dinna doubt you'd do a fine job." Glenna looked at her, trying to gauge her sincerity. "I do think I could." Dorcas smiled and lifted a shoulder. "There's no harm in asking, Mr. Kincaid."